3, 2, 1. That was so fetch. I'm Adam from Your Movie Sucks. This is Sardonicast, and we're trying to make fetch happen. So
stop trying to make fetch happen.
Why not?
Yeah, stop it, man.
Why wouldn't
that was the turning point of the film? You realize like it
why
sounds
wouldn't
like
it
nothing.
happen though? You're so 2000 and late.
Hi everybody, I'm back. How's it going? How are you guys?
Hello. I'm doing good.
Yeah, good. I guess I'll wedge my intro bit in. Just introducing our names is like such a it's stressful.
Who are you?
Yeah.
Who are you?
you?
It's been a while. Who are you guys?
That was another quote from the movie. Actually, her mom said, "Who are you?"
I've got a quote, but I think it might get the video flagged if I say some of the quotes from the movie.
Oh, the R slur.
Copyright strike. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm Alex from IHG. Welcome.
Yeah. Oh, in case you're curious, the acoustic foam paneling, I haven't glued them yet, but the ones that I used the regular adhesive on, there's 2 left out of the 20. The rest have fallen off. Just slowly over time.
Okay.
I'll just be doing shit at my desk like, there's another one. So I gotta get some proper glue for that. And so hopefully by the next episode, I guess, I'm just like, oh, fuck, I gotta pull my whole desk out again and everything's on it and just get fucking, stand on a bench to get at the top ones. And then even when I had them all up, it wasn't even like, I don't know, didn't completely get rid of the echo. So I got to do more shit with this room. Just an annoying, daunting task.
Yeah, I put the noise panel things up too. They keep falling.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Tape. Need a ton of tape on there.
You just need to fill the room with stuff. We got like carpets, big curtains.
Yeah, that's good.
It was so effortless in my Vancouver room because it was just crammed with so much shit. But now we got like more space, and it's like this I guess first world problem. this
the content creator problem, the trials and tribulations.
Blessing and a curse at the same time. I love having more space. I love being able to have more space, but fuck, now the audio doesn't sound as good. Got to become a hoarder now.
Mm-hmm.
No, man.
I could fill the room with things like wooden boys. Speaking of that, we saw Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Not your best segue.
Oh, really? I thought it was my best.
I like that.
Thank you.
Good.
All right. You're the odd one out here, Alex.
Oh, that's awesome.
What do we think?
Awesome.
The good one.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what it was about 2022, just Pinocchio fever that year. And it's funny when you search like on IMDb for this movie, like it specifies Guillermo del Toro's. Everyone remember that it's him because you want to distance yourself from that other one as much as possible. And they are inverse movies. We're talking about that Zemeckis one. Like that's an example of how to not make just a movie, full stop, pretty much. Like just do the inverse and you basically get this.
The original title for this one was just Pinocchio, and then they were like, we better put Guillermo del Toro's name at the beginning.
Yeah. Like I can't really blame them for doing that. But man, nice to see some stop motion again.
True.
Stop motion this smooth as well. Like
looks great.
You know what's fucking crazy? I recognize this just by watching it, and I'm so glad I was proven right. The animation team behind this film also worked on The Shivering Truth. I noticed their character models were like pretty similar. That's the show, the newest PFFR show. So the people that made Xavier, Renegade Angel, Wonder Shows, and The Heart She Holler. Highly, highly recommended, by the way. The Shivering Truth is like maybe their best show. But yeah, just a little shout out there. Really great animation.
Cool.
Just as great animation for like television as well on their show. So really great stuff.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this too.
Shadow Machine, I think they're called.
Yeah, good take on the story. I like what he did with it.
Spoilers.
More playing with that period, right? Like Mussolini's in the movie and they kind of play with that stuff. I thought that was fun. Oh yeah, spoilers. I guess it's unique.
Okay, we can just talk. This is a spoiler discussion, everybody.
Yeah.
It's fucking Pinocchio. It's public domain.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. You got no excuse to not.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I remember when we were talking about that Zemeckis movie, I think you said it, Adam, about how the story is just kind of, like, it's really quite random, like all over the place. There's nothing that really connects the threads.
It's a collection of short stories that Disney decided to make into a movie one day, and then everybody associates it as being a movie now, even though it wasn't. originally.
Yeah, so it definitely needed some like tweaking and readjusting, and I feel like he did find the right angle by setting it like in World War II and having that Mussolini, and especially giving it that kind of myth interpretation with him continuously dying and really leaning into the whole like he's not a real boy
stuff.
Yeah, and
that was kind of interesting
and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, you could bring out all those like character designs that Guillermo's known for, and there's a bunch to like chew on with that.
Yeah. I really noticed like the differences and the similarities too. Like there's such things that are exactly the same.
Yeah.
And there's things that are like, they don't go to Pleasure Island at all.
I wasn't afraid to take out the stuff that like would have like weighed it down if they felt the need to just shove it in, like the Pleasure Island, like the whole donkey stuff. Like it didn't, it didn't serve this version of it. So I'm glad they didn't just shove it in there.
Yeah, it was a clever spin, and he like loved the material, or he had like some kind of respect for it. You could tell. It seemed like they made this movie with like
I'm glad it deviated.
Yeah. It deviated where it needed to tell the version of the story like he wanted. And I think it pretty much worked. Like, I thought it hit home.
Yeah.
Like, at the end, especially. Like, the ending of this one, like, compared to the newest one, the Disney one, was really bad, that one.
What's interesting about how they deviated is, like, they still managed to include some of the beats of the original story, like, the, trapped in a whale and, like, all these other things.
The fox,
but
and
the
that
showman
kind of thing.
angle. Yeah.
When it happened in this story, it was actually quite fascinating for me, because I have watched, I don't know, like a dozen Pinocchio movies in the past year. My mind is broken. It sucks. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. But despite that, watching this one most recently, when things started coming up, like Geppetto's trapped in a whale, blah, 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 like when he gets eaten, I didn't even see that coming because it just flowed so naturally. And the pacing when it better. Got to that point, it wasn't like every single other Pinocchio movie. It's like, oh, we have this on the checklist and we're going into the next scene, and because this is on the checklist. It was like, oh no, like I understood why he was going to going on a boat to get Pinocchio, and why he thought the other movies he just decided, oh, Pinocchio must be in the ocean, even though there was no reason for him to believe that. Like that's like basically the other movies. It's just like, oh, they get there and they don't care how they get there. But because they cared how the characters were getting from point A to point B here, I never thought, I didn't even have point B in mind. I was just kind of naturally watching the logical, natural direction of where the story and the characters were going. And so I was like, oh shit, I guess we are getting these beats in the story. It was really surprising and interesting.
Yeah. When we talked about the Disney one, we mentioned how it kind of felt like a bunch of short films stitched together. And this really didn't have that problem because, the pacing was just much better. They did a better job of they did a good job of incorporating characters like into the movie, like at multiple points. So it didn't just feel like a bunch of short films stitched together.
It was the most sensible Pinocchio plot. And it was because they didn't follow it faithfully. I'm sorry. It's public domain. It kind of sucks. I wish we had more things in the public domain. We just got the first movie with sound in it this year in the public domain. That's how fucking far back we are. We need to we need this to be a bit more sensible. We need to skip forward like 50 years. So literally the first movie with sound.
Yeah, what if like Lord of the Rings was public domain?
Yeah, why not? We'd get a better show than Amazon made, probably. Just by some random fans.
Yeah, you still get the fan-made stuff. But like a full-fledged show. Anyway, back on Pinocchio. The movie looks beautiful. I like the music, too. It's the guy who usually works with Wes Anderson, right? Alexander Desplat.
He's worked with Guillermo twice now already.
And it's kind of a musical, too. Like, I like the songs they wrote for it. They were cute.
I liked the instrumentation for the songs.
Oh, you didn't really like them?
I disliked the lyricism, and I disliked how brazen the use of autotune was. And it was grating to the ears when it came to the lyricism of most of the songs. The one song, which I think got nominated for a Golden Globe, I forget what it's called, but there was one track where I'm like, okay, at least you can't tell that there's as much autotune here, and the lyricism isn't as bad on this song. But I found it to be a huge problem with most of the songs in the film.
All right. I really like the score. Yeah.
I was more kind of confused how I was surprised when the songs began. It was like, oh, this is also kind of a musical take as well. But then huge chunks of the movie have like no musical numbers. So I was like, oh, so this is what
it did kind of come and go.
It didn't really feel like balanced in terms of like I really don't think of it as a musical like first, even though it has those musical elements. Like I didn't need that part of the movie necessarily. There was enough going on for me for that to like not really need to be there, even though I guess it leans into the showman angle and him being like a performer in the movie. Like it's still that part really didn't gel with me.
Yeah, I guess that's fine. I guess you don't like the music. To me, it's just it would kind of be kind of dry without it, because it is supposed to be a family film, like sort of. You know, Pinocchio is a family story.
Well, that's one of the things I like about it. It's like you're almost missing a beat if you're choosing stop motion as your like medium, and you don't kind of have some like terror and scariness in there, because it's creepy.
Yeah, but it almost would have been like too morbid, you know? Like it's like all about death and Nazis and this, and it's like, okay, we need like something to break it up, like some music or I get what you're saying too.
That's what I like though about like the best kind of kids movies are the ones that don't treat them like they're dumb. Like it's dealing with like kind of heavy themes, and like the bad guy, like at the end of the movie, if we're talking spoilers, like he falls off a cliff and like smacks onto a rock and it like doesn't cut away. It's like kind of like brutal, and all the World War II elements, it's like quite heavy.
I thought when the bomb went off that like everybody was dead. I was like, it was the type of movie where like, did they just kill everybody?
It was like, what's that movie? What's that movie with the nuclear bomb?
Oh yeah,
that we watched
that British one.
It's like that.
Threads.
Oh, Threads.
Yeah, it's like that.
Just hard turn into Threads. I wasn't put off by the music being in the film. I wasn't put off by the ratio of music to non-music, because like, you know, The Lion King, you don't necessarily think of as a musical, but there's tons of musical songs in it in the same way. You know, a lot of it is without music.
But I'd want to listen to those outside of the movie.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's its biggest problem is Alexandre Desplat did a great job arranging the songs musically, orchestrally. I think that they sounded good in that sense. But like, I don't know, I forget who wrote the lyrics, but they were... we were doing a watch along to it, and I'm pretty sure someone in chat was like, okay, yeah, they've done like basically nothing. This was like their first thing, and they were just friends with somebody. And and so it kind of shows. Fact check me on that if I'm wrong. But yeah, the lyricism was so fucking weak at points that it was just, it was so disappointing, because I'm like, you could communicate some of the same things just like in a better way that didn't seem as stupid, because the rest of the movie, the writing is pretty great. Like everything's so sensible in terms of how characters are motivated, and you know, the humor mostly lands, and then just some parts of the movie, like the poop song, like that was the one part where I'm like, okay, you're trying to be funny and it's not landing, and it's just kind of weird. And then fuck that auto-tune, it's just absolutely horrendous for every character that isn't Pinocchio. The auto-tune is just like, ugh, like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At least the Pinocchio character seems to match what the auto-tune is turning it into enough that it's not as noticeable. But fuck, very, very missed opportunity with the music. It's holding it back, in my opinion.
But yeah, to me, that was really the only thing that bothered me as far as like presentation and everything. Everything else was like really consistent for me and surprising, and surprisingly dark. All those character designs. One of the like most insulting, annoying things about that Zemeckis Pinocchio to me was that they didn't even like try or care about like the design of the characters, or especially like Pinocchio. There's so much room to like do something with that character design, and I love the like one ear and have the stump of the wood on the back of his head and the bullet hole that he gets. It's like just implementing the ideas in a much smarter way, and like bringing the whole lying nose growth thing, and it's kind of how they get out the whale at the end. Like it's way more thoughtful, like a nice spin on the stuff you kind of expect.
Just the acting was much better in this too.
Oh, much better, yeah.
From everybody. much better cast.
Oh, fucking, who was the monkey again? It was like, was it Cate Blanchett, or who was it?
Tilda Swinton.
Oh, was it? I didn't know that.
No, Tilda Swinton was the
she was
the Chimera.
Or whatever.
Yeah, I think it was Cate Blanchett doing the monkey character. Let me just double check this. And that was like a weirdly expressive vocal performance for that too. Like I thought that was awesome.
That's funny.
I was shocked to have like that kind of a side comic relief. Yeah, Kate Blanchett is Spazzatura. I forget how they pronounced it. And then Christoph Waltz. Tilda Swinton is the mood wood spray.
I like David Bradley as Geppetto.
Yeah. He's great.
Yeah. We got it. Ewan, which is a pretty nice step up from Joseph Gordon-Levitt's Pinocchio.
Yeah, he was much better. He was
his
so
was
much
horrendous.
better.
His fucking cricket voice or whatever.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt in that movie, he fucking sucked. I lowered my rating for that. Yeah, man. I just kept thinking back to that one. I'm like, that movie fucking sucked.
That's maybe so one of the worst voice performances I've ever heard. One that like stands out in an already bad movie. Like
it's just one of the worst movies like of the year.
I don't know what they were thinking.
Yeah. That whole movie is a disaster, right? This was so much better. So much better.
Yeah. So I would say this probably has the best shot at winning like best animated feature. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What
Academy likes Guillermo.
What Pixar movie was it up against? Because that's normally what steals it. I can't even think.
Lightyear.
Like, Pixar's just been all over. Lightyear and Turning Red. Yeah, this is much better.
Turning Red might get it. Actually, you're right.
Maybe. It won't be Lightyear.
We'll see what happens. The Academy likes Guillermo.
This was better than Lightyear, that's for sure.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be funny if it's just not even nominated? That would be funny.
You know, at this point, I wouldn't even be surprised.
It's the Academy.
Yeah.
God, I'm just thinking about it. This story is like so saturated to the point, like just seeing Puss in Boots the other day, like Jiminy Cricket, like is in that movie as well. It's like just never ending.
Oh yeah,
goddamn
yeah.
story.
I'm excited for that. We could talk about that next time.
Yeah. Puss in Boots was good. I really liked it.
Another animated movie better than Lightyear.
I like these tiny little changes to the familiar story that make things so much more motivated. Like, you know, the cricket character in this one being like, no, that's my home. And it's like, okay, I get why you're, you know, around this character living with them, not just like, you're just here because the omniscient story character told you to do this. It's just like, oh, okay. Like he actually
makes no sense.
There's a motivated reason why he's sort of attached to this wooden boy. Like he was living, that was his tree home before, right? So tiny things like that. And just what they do with the characters is just so much more purposeful and emotionally effective. Like what they did with Geppetto, essentially, like it's more or less his arc rather than Pinocchio's. It's a story about Geppetto learning to become a father. I think that was Guillermo that said that, like in an interview, right? So yeah, a nice twist on the story. And I really, really don't want to stop talking about this before we mention the character design. I think you mentioned it briefly, Alex, but watching this film is such a breath of fresh air because what Guillermo is able to do with creature design and just character design in general, it makes me wish he was working on like every fucking animated movie because it's so, you don't realize how bad it is, particularly like we all talk about how bad it is, but when we see a film do it right and it's so consistent, we're like, oh wow, every character design is like unique and interesting and just looks cool. It's aesthetically pleasing. Yeah. Meanwhile, we have all of these fucking like, you know, ugly Sonic and like fucking Detective Pikachu, like garbage, like everything just looks like Uncanny Valley. I'm like, wow, like
fucking Minions and that kind of shit.
Yeah, it's either that or the blandness of like even like Pixar at this point.
Oh yeah, where everything has to look a certain way.
Like Turning Red, but like all the humans kind of look the same way, and all those big Disney movies, like they always have a kind of similar look going on. It's only more recently that's just going out of those bounds just a little bit.
Yeah, other than Turning Red. Yeah, Turning Red was like the only one.
And even that, it's like not. It's still more of the same. It's Turning Red had differences compared to other Pixar movies in terms of how their style operated and the color. And it's like, oh yeah, I appreciated that. You know, I pointed that out. But like, it still looks exactly like a Pixar movie, and just like it still looks way too similar.
Again, it's better than Lightyear. It's maybe a low bar, but it's better than Lightyear.
Yeah, it all feels kind of standardized. Yeah. Similar. So this kind of stuff really stands out.
It's just another symptom of, you know, movies being a business, because it really takes something like Spider-Verse being successful and winning like best animated feature for studios to be like, oh wait, we can be stylistic and not sacrifice making money. Like, oh, you can actually do that. So yeah, I'm glad that we're entering we're kind of going in the direction where you can see like, oh, you can have it stylized too, and you don't have to lose money because of it. It doesn't have to look the exact same as everything else.
Yeah.
Make a good movie.
In a way, the economics of it are almost forcing them down that lane. Because like Lightyear wasn't like a big financial success like they were hoping, right? And that's like the most generic looking, like that's like the exact example we're talking about, like the bored visual style of it, where you could have done like so much like fun. You could have done like a retro kind of 60s aesthetic or something, and really there's like so much you can do, especially with animation. So it
was a movie Andy saw in the 90s. It was retro. This I really like the design of Pinocchio in this. I like that he kind of has a tree bark texture like over his whole body. Like that was different for me. I'm like, oh, that's fun. Like, yeah, there's so much like creative decisions.
Yeah, that's another advantage of stop motion, is everything has like a certain texture to it, and all the imperfections that come with it. It's like it's always visually kind of stimulating.
The cricket looks great.
Yeah.
The afterlife stuff looked cool. It was very like glowy and ethereal.
Great sets.
Fun.
Great like color palette and like very atmospheric environments, you know?
Yeah. There's just something about stop motion, so much fun. Like, I love seeing the process behind making it.
Yeah, you can do it in any medium, but like...
Yeah, but like stop motion is so cool to see, even the behind the scenes. Like, I was looking, they have like the different scales of Pinocchio. It's fun.
I just wish more movies did this.
Yeah.
It just feels like they're... It just... When you see it done right, it's like, oh, wait, you can actually just do this. And there's talented people that, you know, any movie could hire. Any Hollywood big production film, you would just have to hire some talented people to do that instead of... it's just so frustrating and annoying.
Yeah.
That we don't have this as like a standard, you know?
Yeah, or like we'll get it, but at the expense of something. Like the last time I remember being wowed by stop motion on this kind of level was Kubo and the Two Strings, but like the writing just wasn't there. Like it didn't have concepts that like, or characters that you really remember. So this is like the whole package instead of just like that one element being nailed. Yeah,
I think the story of this was much better. Yeah, it took from a story that I knew a bit better, and it had more of a clever spin on it. Whereas Kubo, I don't know if that was his story. I think it might have been some legend or something, but it just I didn't really care for the story in that, or like I did in this. I really like the ending too. I just want to mention, like, I had a good emotional, like, heart, whatever. It had heart to the ending.
Yeah, it did.
You actually like felt sad. It was like great, unlike the Robert Zemeckis disaster.
Yeah, just the whole like existential threat, like of the main character, like with him dying. He gets like hit by a car like early on, and just that whole angle of describing it. Yeah, every time you die, you're going to be stuck here for longer and longer. It's like, these are like kind of deep concepts to be throwing, especially at kids to be thinking about. It's like a really cool idea. Yeah, he gets shot by Mussolini. It's crazy. Yeah, that was Tom Kenny voicing Mussolini. Yeah, it's just a lot of good actors in this. Oh, awesome. SpongeBob Bellini. Cool. There's some other ones. John Turturro, Tim Blake Nelson.
I think he did a couple of voices.
Finn Wolfhard, Ron Perlman. Yeah. I think I said Christoph Waltz.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great cast. Yeah, I don't know what else to say aside from it looked beautiful. Yeah, I loved it. It was a great take on the story that was actually justified. Like, I was like, oh, I'm glad they made this movie because I really enjoyed it.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm giving this one a 7 out of 10. Loved it. Breath of fresh air, held back by the fucking auto-tune and the bad lyrics of songs that, I mean, were well arranged musically for the most part, but Jesus Christ, just fixed a couple things and it wouldn't hold it back as much. Ugh.
Well, I like the song, so 4 stars for Pinocchio.
Wabam.
For Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Yeah,
that's the title.
Yeah. Make sure you specify. I don't want people thinking it was the Zemeckis. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Ralph. This is a 4-star, 8 out of 10 for me. Yeah, I love the darkness. Love that stop motion. Every element of it, aside from the music, for me, is the only thing that's kind of just doesn't feel that necessary. to me. Or something else could have been done there, rearranged. I don't know. That was like a weaker point for me. But overall, yeah, exactly what we want to be seeing from animation specifically as well. Just the perfect combo.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Glad we all liked it.
All right. We all saw Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery.
Yeah, it's kind of like adding the Guillermo thing out of fear. Like they had to put a Knives Out mystery out of fear.
Onion.
Have you seen that video?
No, I haven't.
There's like if you search like how to dice an onion on YouTube, like the one I think with the most views is just, it's a tutorial on how to do it, but the chef pronounces it onion about like 800 times in the video, and it's really funny.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Like The Rock talking about Black Adam on his Instagram.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's just this video going around of him like driving somewhere and he's talking about the box office performance, and every 3 words he says the words Black Adam. It's like,
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
but Glass Onion, yeah.
Yeah.
Knives Out mystery.
Yeah. We're not talking about The Rock.
We're talking about Dave Bautista, who's never been in a bad movie ever.
Dave Bautista has a much better career
He does.
so far.
He cares about playing characters, it seems. That kind of seems to be the difference. Instead of playing himself, he'll actually be someone who isn't him, which is quite cool.
He does have a bit more range than The Rock.
Yeah,
he does. His characters that he plays seem to be a bit more varied than The Rock. So yeah.
Yeah.
I can at least name 2 movies that are good that he's in, whereas I don't think I could do that with The Rock.
What was it called? I Spy? What was the one?
With what?
Was
The
that
Rock?
good?
With Dave Bautista in it?
Oh, I would say like Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, Blade Runner.
I was trying to name a bad one. I just forgot the title.
Yeah.
Oh, a bad one. Oh,
It's not that he hasn't been in a bad movie, but he's been in more good movies than Dwayne Johnson.
My Spy.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
So the reason why I say that is because I forget who he was dissing, but he's like, no, I'm only in good movies. I
think it was The Rock.
I think maybe he was dissing The Rock.
Oh, Dave Bautista said that.
But this was around the time where there were ads out for My Spy, which just looked very bad, and so I was like, okay.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Also, he was in Army of the Dead. Okay, that's one I have seen all the way through. That was a bad movie.
Oh my god, I completely forgot about that movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
So he's in Dune.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Guardians.
He's good in Dune.
And he's in fucking Blade Runner 2049. So
and he's in Glass Onion.
Onion. How'd you feel about it? I thought it was good, but not great. I liked the first one a lot more.
I like both.
Yeah.
I like the first one more, but I like this one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty much there with you guys. I do prefer Knives Out. But I just liked how it was a sequel that was different. Like it's not even necessarily like a sequel. Like it really could take place before. It doesn't really matter. Like,
yeah,
it's
just the original title was just Glass Onion without the whole Knives Out story tagged on the bottom. But I think Netflix made Rian Johnson do that. He was probably pissed. I think he was pissed about it, actually. He just didn't like that, which is fair. I mean, it kind of just works on its own, right? Because it's like a murder mystery with Daniel Craig. Aside from that, it's like its own thing. And I like it as its own thing. It had a very clever story and concept. Like, I like that it's kind of like when you think about it, like when you don't compare it to Knives Out and just watch it as its own thing, it's like a lot of fun. I think it's when you start comparing the two that you see like the similarities and where the first one's a bit better.
I don't know if I would feel much different. I was just like not that interested in the mystery in this one. I thought that like some of the characters were...
Yeah, the mystery's not quite as strong.
Yeah, more fun.
I think the first one was a little more subtle.
If you're functioning as kind of a whodunit, I had more investment in trying to figure things out in the first film, whereas this one I just didn't care. And it just seemed like it was just going to be, difficult to decipher no matter what sort of thing. Whereas like the first one, I was actually kind of playing along with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like more invested in like the Ana de Armas character, I think, in the first one than I was in like the Janelle Monáe.
Yeah, she's a good like character to center around.
Yeah, I don't know how much of spoilers we want to get into.
Let's spoil the
at
whole
this point.
movie.
I'll just say spoilers.
do it.
I'm just gonna say spoilers now in case something like
We're spoiling
leaks
it.
out, because there's like a lot of shit going on in the
I
movie.
did it.
Yeah, you could
Yeah.
like spoil something by accident. But yeah, I was more invested in that first movie story, and like even like the allegory of like it's about like a privileged family, right? And like their like nurse for their dad gets like all the money. It's like a fun concept, and there's like some kind of fun like commentary there too with subtext or whatever. Here it's like I guess there's that going on with Edward Norton. It just wasn't as like, you know, subtle to me, or I don't even, it was just more fun in the first one.
Purposeful, even.
Exactly. Yeah, subtle's a good way to put it. But that's the thing, though. Glass Onion does seem purposeful because it's kind of baked into the title. You know, it's referencing that Beatles song that is purposefully
which is
kind
in
of
the
nonsense,
credits.
just to kind of mock the audience that loved like reading into Beatles lyrics. So having this metaphor of the glass onion that's like, it's got all these layers, but you can see right through it. It's quite a fun like wink and nod to the audience, and through these characters that, even though it was written probably over a year ago, kind of parody exactly what is going on in pop culture right now with this Edward Norton character who is like a bunch of billionaire kind of tropes kind of put into one, and people seeing the like similarities with Elon Musk or the Dave Bautista
Elon
character
Musk.
That is kind of like an Andrew
Rogan.
Tate kind of
or Andrew Tate
sort of parody, like one of these like
for sure.
That side of it I do like, despite that lack of subtlety in the whole, just the family framing of Knives Out. It's kind of like it seemed more kind of realistic and relatable, and the kind of political commentary, as you were saying, is a lot more subtle and expressive, and but I do like the fact that they kind of inverse of each other like that, and they still feel like they're in the same universe, and they're just kind of connected with this one investigator character. It's like really fun. I was never really bored, and I just want to see like more of these. I could imagine.
Yeah, I'll watch the
like,
third one.
Me too.
There'll be a third
Yeah, I
one.
want to see another one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It does. Well, it feels just like an Agatha Christie kind of novel, and you can imagine just pulling out 3 or 4 of these, and them all like having a different setting and a different cast of characters, and it's more like just what mood you're looking for that day, kind of thing. With the cast of characters being the draw.
Yeah, mentioning subtlety, I feel like this suffered from some sort of like sequel syndrome, where I'm sure we've seen this a bunch of times, where, oh, this is the second movie, so everything's bigger now, and it's just like, it felt like way too showy in terms of what it was trying to do, like the whole like CG explosion and fucking all that, you know, nonsense. And
now it's a
big
giant
big
mansion,
island, and like there's more
with a glass
money,
onion.
and like there's more celebrities and stuff. And it's just like, it felt a little too showy, and I didn't really feel impressed by that, you know, especially when some of the CG was kind of bad too.
I like the more subtle ones though, like the references to like Jared Leto's kombucha or whatever, like Jeremy Renner's hot sauce. That was
stuff
funny.
like that. That's
like
fun.
it's like a more but it was like Serena Williams like showing up on the monitor. Yeah, that was kind of like, I was like, what?
I don't feel like a whodunit mystery benefits from being big and showy. You know? I feel like those things are like almost a little contradictory, at least for my taste.
I see what you're saying too. Yeah, I feel like it, at least with the setting being like this billionaire powerful guy and all these powerful people, it at least is kind of like baked into the story. It doesn't feel like it's purely just trying to show off. It is kind of acknowledged. It's not. Yeah, it's not like ignoring that fact, especially if we do get other ones, and
we'll see what happens with the third movie.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of, we'll see where it fits and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Who was your favorite character? I thought that Edward Norton was the funniest, personally.
Yeah, I really liked Edward Norton in this.
Yeah.
He was probably my favorite, just in terms of the performance.
He's a great comedic actor.
Yeah, he was really good in this.
I'm glad he's being used more in that way in recent years.
Yeah.
Lots of Wes Anderson, you know. Yeah, he's got a great sense of like comedic pacing and delivery.
Yeah.
Everyone just seems like they're having so much fun.
It's very funny. Yeah, like I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, the whole cast just seems like they're enjoying it. Yeah.
Yeah, Kate Hudson was great. Yeah, she seemed like she was having a lot of fun.
Oh, she was fun too, yeah.
Yeah, her character's just
I
like
enjoyed her.
Total, you know, idiot. Like she's not very bright. I like how they kind of worked COVID into the storyline too. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, not
like,
a lot of movies do that.
They're all wearing masks, but they kind of played with it. And then Ethan Hawke briefly shows up and kind of injects all of them with some kind of shit in their mouth or whatever. Yeah, he's just in that one scene. I'm like, that was kind of weird. Yeah, celebrity cameo. Those are always fun. Yeah, I like Rian Johnson. I also missed in the first one, he was kind of like saying "fuck you" to the people who hated Last Jedi, right? With like the
for
like
sure.
the kind of teenage boy character is the Nazi boy in the bathroom or whatever, masturbating, whatever he says to him. Yeah, that's not really in this one. I guess it's there. Yeah, it's just not. No, it's not really in this one at all, unless it's like it's making fun of Elon Musk.
Yeah, not that side of it. But one of the complaints I've seen is more so like the Twitterisms, or kind of, you know, like that kind of side of it, like building in the Andrew Tate character, the like kombucha line that you already mentioned and stuff like that. But that's more of a taste thing, I think, depending on that. That never really pulled me out of the movie, because I feel like it was kind of consistently sort of silly. Like it's like he's in the bath, like at the beginning, Daniel Craig, like playing Among Us, like it's like a silly tone, and I feel like it stays true to itself.
Hugh Grant is his husband. Yeah, he opens the door. He's like in a pink apron. Like they just set that up. I'm like, oh, that's funny. But yeah, it's just like they try to like expand like the Daniel Craig character in this movie. He's like, I don't know. I think he is like a fun character to make movies with. Like I could see like 5 more movies with him.
Yeah, exactly.
Easily. Yeah.
I'd love to see more of him.
Yeah, I just love Daniel Craig. Like he's got so much versatility in like the kind of performances he can give, and this is like, yeah, I love this character. I want to see more of him. It's very different than something like James Bond, where he was very dapper. Here he's like kind of that like Texas accent or whatever he's doing. It's like, yeah, kind of brilliant. Like, and the references he makes, like when he referenced 2010. That was great. That was really funny. It's full of stars. Oh,
yeah. I was like, I'm the only person in the theater who understands this.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. I mean,
it's all
like,
full of,
yeah,
my God, it's all full of stars. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
That was a joke for only me in the audience here.
Yeah, exactly. That was really funny. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Yeah, it's just like the little references like that were great.
Yeah.
And you've seen it twice, haven't you, Ralph? Like I've heard that it kind of works better a second time almost.
Yeah, it's fun seeing it the second time because you know what's going to happen and you pick up on certain things. Yeah, like there's tons of things I noticed the second time that I didn't notice the first time. I'm making my own review of it, so I'll mention like one thing. But yeah, like it's just, yeah, it's a fun movie. You want to rewatch it because, yeah, that mystery is so fun. There's like all these little like fun payoffs and gags and whatever, like good character writing. Yeah. It's very plot driven too. Like Rian Johnson's he's such a good writer. I've always liked his stuff. I've always been a fan of him.
He's an interesting character that I will continue to watch more films from.
Yeah. I like a lot of his movies.
Yeah. He's kind of sassy in the way he puts things together. All the way since like Brick, because that was kind of like a mystery story, like set in a high school, wasn't it? So
that's the only one I haven't seen.
Oh really?
Brick.
Yeah.
I like Brick.
Yeah, it's worth checking out. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've heard.
What's the other one? Was it Brothers Bloom? Did he do that?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that's the one I haven't seen.
Did he do what?
He did one with what? One? He did one with like Mark Ruffalo or something.
Yeah, it's
the one thing in his catalog I haven't seen.
Brothers Bloom?
Is that what it was called?
Yeah,
oh, he did.
It might not be.
Okay, well, never mind.
Yeah.
I guess I haven't seen that either.
That was him. Yeah, I've never seen that one.
I thought I was only missing one.
See? Yeah, Brothers Bloom, Looper, which is good. Yeah, I like Looper. Last Jedi's it's all right. Last Jedi's all right. I feel like after Last
Looper,
Jedi,
more like Blooper.
Oh, after Last Jedi, he's kind of entered like a new era of like his movies. Yeah, that sassiness. The sassiness is like up like 10% or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's
after
weird.
Last Jedi.
Everyone's in a feedback loop where like now everyone has to watch his movies to be a part of like some weird cultural conversation no matter what he makes. And then he's also at the same time trying to like respond to this weird Twitter shit within his movies, and it's just like, it's so bizarre.
Right,
that makes me want to see his movies more, even if I don't enjoy every one. That makes me just like, okay, I wonder what everyone's take on this one will be. Like, I wonder if he'll do something to piss people off.
Yeah, it definitely works. Like, but so many people have had meltdowns on Twitter about Glass Onion specifically. It's like really embarrassing. Like, man,
Yeah.
it's really not that big a deal to me, but yeah, I like him. He's an interesting director.
I haven't bothered to look into it.
Mm-hmm.
I know that some people absolutely hate this movie, but I couldn't tell you why. Oh yeah, didn't Ben Shapiro say something about this?
Yeah, Ben Shapiro had like
There's
a whole thread about it.
Oh yeah, that was
A lot of
funny.
people missed the point of the movie.
It's coming back to me now.
Yeah.
It's coming back to me. There was some good shit there.
Yeah, they kind of missed the point of like the concept of the movie, which is the glass onion. Like it's supposed to be like hidden in plain sight is the thing, the whole mystery. So they're like, oh, it's so obvious, or like it's so stupid. It's like you're not missing, or like you're missing the point of like the Edward Norton character and like the whole point of the movie, really.
Yeah, there's like the mechanics of the plot, and then there's like the fun of the story and how, you know, the lines of dialogue and just where it goes, and there's like more going on than just that one side of it. I don't know.
If you want to call them critics, they're not really critics. Like Ben Shapiro's not a critic.
I just find it so interesting and amusing that like if this exact same movie had come out but wasn't directed by Rian Johnson, like 90% of these people wouldn't be talking about it.
Oh yeah.
Like even if it was just as big of a movie, even if it was like had just as many people watching it, like a lot of these people just it wouldn't be a part of like the cultural conversation because it's not Rian Johnson.
So yeah, it's the Star Wars curse, man.
Ben Shapiro would not be talking about it. Like,
No.
It's funny. But yeah, I'm kind of lukewarm on it. I won't be seeing it a second time. You know, there's some things I liked about it. Some, you know, loved Edward Norton, decently shot, music was good. Yeah, not a big fan of the whole showiness. Not a big fan of the CG. The fire looked like shit. And yeah, just not as compelling for me as the first film. I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. It was decent. Not a terrible movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I got the same rating as you, as a high 6 out of 10, a 3-star. I'd be willing to watch it again, though. I did just find it fun and kind of silly, and I do like just kind of how out there it is with these characters, and it does feel like an original throwback to this Agatha Christie kind of story, but without completely aping it. And as I say, I'd be down to watch like 3-4 of these movies. I think it's just such a fun, central character to kind of build around, and just murder mysteries, man. They're enjoyable. And I think, as you were saying, Ralph, with if Knives Out didn't exist, and maybe if this was the first one, then I don't know. Yeah, comparing it to that,
yeah,
I just prefer Knives Out overall. But yeah, I still did enjoy it a lot.
Rian Johnson, it seems like his intent is for them to be like kind of separate, which is fine. That's how I kind of look at it. I prefer Knives Out, yeah, but this one's a lot of fun. Yeah, like we're saying, very funny, great cast of actors they got. I would definitely see more. Yeah, I think I had more fun with it than you guys. I'd give it 4 stars, and I saw it twice, and I'd see it again.
Cool.
Supposedly, Rian Johnson originally wanted Daniel Craig to be doing completely different accents in each films without explaining it.
Yeah,
that would have been a bad idea. That would have been bad. I'm glad they just stuck with this Texas.
I think I'm comfortable with Daniel Craig playing Foghorn Leghorn. I think I'm good with that.
I like that. I like that too.
Yeah, that might have pushed the silliness almost like too far.
Yeah. All right. That was dope. We had a film recommendation from Ralph.
Yeah.
What was it again?
Yeah, I recommended Mean Girls.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good movie. Directed by Mark Waters. I think Tina Fey wrote it, right?
Yeah.
She wrote either the whole thing or part of it.
She did the screenplay.
Yeah, one of the writers at least. Yeah, and it's about Lindsay Lohan's a new kid in a high school, and she like befriends a clique of girls called the Plastics, and it's just kind of about like high school drama.
So it's based off
kind
of
a different movie for us
called Queen Bees and Wannabes, really? And then Tina Fey adapted that into a screenplay, is what it looks like.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, but I don't think the book was fiction. I think it was more like a non-fiction kind of advice book or something like that.
That's what I was going to ask. Is it like a narrative book, or is it like kind of like what they did with Fantastic Beasts, I guess, where it's just like a book of beasts or whatever. Yeah, it's just like they it seems like they kind of like wrote this whole narrative, like original narrative for this movie.
Yeah.
If I'm not wrong. But yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was funny. I like the characters. I like Lindsay Lohan in it, actually. A lot of like actors that are kind of big now that I don't think they have that like the status they do now, like at the time. Like I don't know how famous like Amanda Seyfried were or like Lizzie Kaplan. But yeah, I thought they were all good in this. I thought Amy Poehler was fun.
She was fun, yeah.
Yeah, they got like, yeah, well, I like good actors in this, and yeah, I thought it was pretty funny.
I love Tim Meadows. I want to see him in more comedy things. He's very funny.
He's got such a unique cadence. Like the way he delivers lines is like, is really funny. It always catches you off guard.
Yeah.
I want to see him in more stuff too.
He was like one of the funniest parts of Walk Hard. He's like, you don't want no part of this, Dewey. That whole scene. I don't know if you've seen the movie. It's really funny. You can find that on YouTube, actually. It's just one of the funniest.
It's a funny movie.
Yeah, it's not a bad movie. It is very much kind of a time capsule for 2000s movies set in high schools.
Yeah.
It's got the editing and soundtrack choices that are kind of familiar to the time. Fucking Missy Elliott. Love that shit. Love her music. Pass that Dutch.
Soundtrack's very of the time, yeah.
Yeah. Some weird choices here and there, but
that was my like favorite part of it, was that time capsule nature with the especially with the dialogue, like just remembering like, oh yeah, man, like during this era every other word was the R slur, man. Like it's just everywhere. That's what I was really enjoying from it, because this is one of those, it's one of those cult classic movies where like so many people grew up with this, but it was never really on my radar, with it being, it's like about girls in high school and all the cliques and stuff. Like it was never really my cup of tea. So, and I don't have like a sister or anything, so I never really checked it out. Although you do just pick up things here and there. It's like constantly referenced. Everyone kind of knows Mean Girls. It's one of those.
Yeah.
Everybody saw it.
That's kind of why I recommended it. Yeah. It's got some like good people attached to it.
I just looked at the wiki for... So I don't know if you were aware of this, because you might be a bit too young for it, but the Black Eyed Peas song Let's Get It Started was originally Let's Get It R-slurred.
I did.
Or Let's Get It... And that, I'm looking this up right now. This was released in 2004, which is the same year that Mean Girls was released. So it's actually kind of funny that they both kind of fit into that.
Yeah.
Literally
I
the same year.
A few months back.
Yeah.
You actually, like, you have to find it on YouTube, because if you try and find it on their Spotify,
they erased
not
it.
there. So
they pretended it doesn't exist. But I would encourage everybody listening right now to look up Let's Get R-slurred by the Black Eyed Peas. And you can hear them
really
saying it. It's crazy. It's awesome. And it was on the radio. It wasn't a bad word at the time. That killed the R slur, was the Black Eyed Peas.
They killed a lot of things.
It was a very different time. Yeah.
It was a very different time. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know, like people, like the word dumb was like a medical term. Like even the R slur was a medical term.
So was like queer was as well, right?
Yeah, I think dumb means like you're mute or deaf or something. But
the way that words evolve, it's kind of like when we're using words to describe like a mental deficiency as an insult, I think we're playing kind of a losing game, because it's just going to keep shifting. Like, now people are going to use the word autistic or something. It's like, okay, well, like what word are people going to use next? Like we're going to start with something that means something initially medical, and then it's going to turn into an insult just because of how people use it, and then you can't say it, and then you can't say that medically anymore. It's just like, I don't know. I feel like it's a losing game with that word and or description. So, like if like here's an example. If pedophiles want to be called maps, it doesn't really matter, because maps will just mean the bad thing too. Like then maps will just have like, okay, call yourselves maps. It doesn't matter. Like you could, the word will have just as negative of a connotation as pedophile.
Man, I wasn't expecting maps to come up in the Mean Girls discussion.
If they want to call themselves minor attracted pedophiles, that's fine by me. Bazinga. Speaking of pedophiles, oddly sexualized characters in this film.
Yeah, especially that whole like Santa scene where they're doing that on the stage.
Yeah, I guess I should say ephebophiles or whatever if people are going to be like really into the fucking...
Yeah.
Yeah. This is part of like Lindsay Lohan's downfall, is that not only was she a child star, but she was weirdly sexualized as a child star.
Yeah, that is unfortunate.
Yeah.
At home.
So I think she was 18 when this was filmed, or at least that's what a quick wiki search told me, or Google search. But still, even before this film, like she was, that was like a part of her thing. Remember, like she's in the same kind of generation as like Britney Spears was. Like when she made the song "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time," like I think she literally was 16, Britney Spears, and like that was an insanely, that was an incredibly sexualized music video and like overall presence, right? Like we see this happening to different degrees time and time again, you know. It's like a girl hits puberty and then you market that and it's like, well, you know, like I thought we were in a society that was saying that like it's probably bad if you're attracted to someone under the age of 18. But then, you know, it seems like a lot of industries are kind of like, well, maybe, you know, they're like trying to push that. It's like, well.
They kind of prod at it. They prod at it a little bit in the movie, don't they? There's that kind of background character, the little sister who's like watching like a spring break type thing, and she like pulls her shirt up, like copying it, and it's not like a big like part of the movie or anything, but it's at least sprinkled in there a little bit.
It's self-aware enough where you can argue like, okay, that's a part of the commentary of the film.
Yeah.
You know, it's not as bad as like Cuties, as an example. You know?
Which I've never seen that, but yeah.
Same.
It just doesn't seem as blatant.
It looks boring.
Yeah.
And French.
Yeah, there was some really surprising things about it to me, like the whole the Africa thing, where like she was homeschooled and like lived in Africa most of her life, so they have these like crazy jokes with it, like so it reminded me of being at the watering hole. So then everyone's like on all fours.
I think that kind of bothered me a little more than what you guys are saying. Because I didn't really the humor like toward the beginning. We're like, oh, we have an African exchange student, and she looks at like the only like black girl in the room.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
like those jokes that bothered me more than like what are you guys talking about?
they drop an N-word as well.
Oh, I don't even remember.
In the subtitles, like the Asian characters towards the end.
Oh,
like,
I remember that,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that, really.
Yes, yeah. I was like,
this is my first time watching it, so yeah, crazy. I didn't expect that in this movie. I definitely, this kind of had a bit more of an edge than I expected from like the marketing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Was it the movie, or was this era just kind of?
It was the era
like that. Yeah.
It was just comedy.
It was the year. This was this exact same year as Team America World Police, also 2004.
Oh,
that was
funny.
A very edgy movie, very
Yeah.
funny movie. This is around the same time as like, you know, a lot of edginess on South Park on television. We had like Drawn Together was like a 2003 or 4 show, like around that era. Wonder Show's is in this area. Like mid 2000s, the entire cultural shift was like, what, you're going to tell me I can't say something? Beep! Like it was just like, the whole point was that we're saying it because we're being told not to say it. Eminem had like a bunch of his most successful albums coming out like early 2000s, and like, you know, just so much. It was a different time period and a different cultural conversation. Yeah, but it was really interesting. Like I like kind of edgy stuff as long as it's funny, you know?
Yeah, I think you could say too, in this case for this movie, it's trying to be authentic to kind of how teenagers would probably talk. And yeah, like teenagers in high school, they'd probably have no filter. They'd probably be saying all kinds of,
especially 2004, why not?
stuff. Yeah, so I think you could also argue that, and I'd say like, yeah, that's entirely fair. Like I think it did kind of feel authentic in certain ways to how the like kids would be at that time and these characters would be. I definitely felt that. I liked everybody in it. I thought Amanda Seyfried was funny. I liked her whole gag. That she was like kind of dumb.
Yeah,
yeah, she was really good.
There
were some good performances in it.
The other girl who, what was the quote at the beginning that you said? Like it all like ties into
It's
that.
so fetch.
Yeah, like the whole fetch thing. That's when she turns on Rachel McAdams, and it's that's it. I'm gonna betray her now, and that's like the start of her downfall. I like that character. That was a fun character. Yeah, it's like fun. Yeah, like the whatever dude that Lindsay Lohan's fawning over. Fun characters in this. No one's like annoying really, except maybe like the other kid in like the math league there. His jokes were kind of annoying, where he was like ripping his shirt off or whatever.
Oh yeah.
That was like a little much. Aside from that, I just thought the movie was fun. I wasn't really expecting too much from it. Yeah, it was actually better than I was expecting. I get the cult status it has. Yeah, it's like funny.
Yeah,
cute.
It's interesting that this film is like kind of a classic in a way, because you wouldn't really expect it based on what it appears to be on surface level. You know, it almost feels like a Disney Channel movie, but just an edgier version of that.
Oh yeah. There's much more of an edge.
Yeah, that was always my perception just from seeing like the poster and how it looked without saying it. Yeah, like that whole gag with the bus like crash, like that really caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting that kind of thing to happen within the movie. That was just crazy.
Some of the best parts of the movie for me are like the slapstick moments, because they're just so outrageously over the top that you kind of just have to assume that, you know, there's a bit of self-awareness to it. Like when she falls in the garbage, it was just like, that was so out of nowhere, and it was like so exaggerated. And again, like the bus, just like Final Destination shit in the movie.
Yeah, it ends like Final Destination.
Yeah, I would have loved it if it just like cut to credits, like right, and that's how she died, and then it's like the end.
Yeah,
like, wow.
Yeah,
so out of nowhere.
Yeah, like Wish Upon.
I'm just it's difficult for me to watch any movie that Lindsay Lohan is in without just like feeling bad. You know?
Yeah, feeling sad for her poor state.
Like she's an absolute nutcase, and you know, it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, well, yeah, what did you expect when you know, have this sexualized child celebrity? You know,
yeah, you can't
huge,
really like blame
famous.
Her. It's kind of like
you're kind of just asking for
you
that.
know, that Nathan Fielder show, The Rehearsal, kind of touches on this kind of thing a little bit.
Yeah, much
it's
more
like,
thoughtful.
Man, yeah, the whole child star thing, like it really is a depressing situation to be in. I was even watching the Telegraph put together this little mini documentary about one of the kids who was gonna be like cast as Anakin Skywalker in The Phantom Menace, and he's kind of just like, I kind of dodged a bullet like not being in that movie, like because that wrecked his life, like being in that, like it is a sad state. But man, people love this movie. It's
yeah
I've only ever seen like all of these kind of movies, like you're Clueless, like you're Mean Girls. I did check out Clueless like
Freaky Friday
a year ago. Yeah, I saw Freaky Friday back in the day too, but I did kind of prefer when I saw it Clueless, which was about 10 years before. It had a bit more of it seemed a bit more kind of satirical to me. Like the main character was a bit funnier to me, whereas they kind of go, Lindsay Lohan is more of like she's more innocent, you know.
Relatable.
Yeah, which I guess works for its demographic. Like if you were like a young girl growing up with this movie, I'm sure this would like really gel with you. But is the click thing like really like this in America? I've always wanted this with like the set. Is it really like this bad? Because
I mean, some schools more than others, but it's a thing.
Yeah,
it felt pretty authentic to me. I'm like, yeah, this is pretty. Yeah. There are clicks like that. Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always found that angle interesting.
Help me understand this. On the Lindsay Lohan Wikipedia page, the photo that they use is like so obviously photoshopped and airbrushed, right? To the point where I'm like, this is Wikipedia. This is not like Instagram. This is not like your promotional page for the, like, you should be using something like a bit more objective, right? Not something that's so obviously retouched. Like and it's like, did she change the profile photo? Like, surely there's photos of her that exist.
Yeah, so it says what? Lohan in 2019.
Yeah. Right? Surely there's photos of her that exist that aren't
I don't know what if her like PR team is funny about it.
Fucked up.
Because you remember she tried to sue Rockstar for saying they stole her likeness for like GTA. So I don't know if they're kind of funny nonsense. Or her team's funny about her image or whatnot. Could be something like that.
That had no merit. It's like,
yeah.
It wasn't even like a main character or anything. It was just like one of the images of the like loading screen, and it didn't even really look like her.
No.
So, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. She's got some serious mental problems, and I feel bad for her.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever see that video where she was live streaming herself trying to abduct a child?
What?
Yeah, she was just like,
when?
Like a few years ago. It was pre-COVID. It was close to pre-COVID or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she was like, there was like this like family, I guess, of immigrants that were like on the sidewalk, just like two parents and a child. She was like, "No, it's cold," and this was around the time where I don't know if she still is Muslim. But this was around the time where she was starting that, and then she was just speaking a bunch of gibberish that apparently wasn't even Arabic, and saying like, "No, it's too cold. I gotta get your son. I'll stay. I'll have a hotel with this son, and you find somewhere else." And this family that like can't understand what she's saying is like, "No, stop trying to take my child away." They're like, "No," like trying to be polite but like scared because this crazy woman is, and Lindsay Lohan's like live streaming the entire thing.
Yeah,
it's absolutely bizarre.
Yeah, on Instagram Live.
Yeah,
woman strikes Lindsay Lohan live on Instagram during attempted kidnapping. This is crazy.
Yeah, she's the one recording it. That's crazy.
It's nuts.
She's recording herself doing that. It's not like someone else doing it.
Yeah,
like someone else recording her. You know,
she had a pretty extreme downfall.
Yeah,
and I don't know what the fuck is in store for her, career wise or health wise. But, I guess life just can throw some bricks at some people,
Yeah.
In fact, what's going on? Was it drugs? Probably a lot of shit.
Yeah, probably a mix of drugs and being a child star. Like, I don't know how you can be a balanced person if that's some of your...
like heavy drugs. Like,
yeah.
Cocaine or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But, watching this movie, she wasn't that way. So I was just watching it like, oh, yeah. Mean Girls.
Those girls are so mean.
Yeah, they are mean. I mean, Rachel McAdams in this movie is pretty mean.
The plot is so silly to me because it's like it very quickly she's moved to this new location and she's like, oh, I'm the odd one out here. I'm the person new to this environment. But then very quickly she makes like two friends. But so quick, but it's meaningful enough that there's like a betrayal element when she starts hanging out with other people. But it just like, there's some elements of the plot that are just kind of like, they move by pretty quickly in terms of like developing it.
Yeah, well, like I said, it was like accurate to clicks. It's like, it's kind of accurate. It's very like cartoonish, It's like very like over the top.
Yeah, well, it's like really low stakes,
Yeah, exactly.
It's what all these kind of movies like fall into, where they're kind of
the point.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like very fluffy. Yeah,
but it's more so where it gets annoying to me is the whole like they got to have the spring fling thing, and who's going to be the king. Like that's where I like just am not interested.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more just there for like that wacky comedy. Just keep it moving as fast as possible. Just throw jokes at me, and a bunch of them work, a bunch of them don't.
Yeah. The mean notebook thing seems like a bit of like a cliche. Like, oh, I need to fess up that I wrote the mean words.
Well, yeah, it's the MacGuffin. It's like the plot device that the whole movie hinges on. Yeah, it's always like it happens with every comedy,
and then that's over. And the movie still goes for another 20 minutes, so it's about the mathletes.
Then it goes into the prom stuff, and and then there's a little epilogue where like Rachel McAdams becomes a basketball player or whatever, or football player, whatever, soccer player. Yeah, it's like, it's like I hate usually how comedies like this ends because it gets back into the plot, which is usually not very interesting. And it's like it just stops telling jokes, and that's kind of what happens with this.
Yeah.
I still had fun with it though. Like, I have the same criticisms really. Like some of the humor doesn't really land for me. It's short though. Like it's like you watch it like in 90 minutes and it's over. Like I thought it was pretty well paced.
Yeah, that's the thing. Right? I feel like it's kind of perfect for its intended demographic. Which, like, admittedly, just is not me. So,
exactly.
Yeah, I totally understand why.
I think it's well done.
It is in the position it is. Yeah.
Like it's not like spectacular, but it's like well shot, like well lit. I don't have any complaints really there. Like we were watching Going Overboard. I know it's like low bar, but like even Going Overboard, like that wasn't even like framed right. Like certain shots, it's just like characters' heads were too low. Like this was all like well done. Like there was clearly like thought put into like every scene and like how it transitions into the next scene. Yeah, it's like visual gags and like it wasn't just all like dialogue jokes like the kind of Judd Apatow movies fall into. Like there was more going on visually that was like interesting. Yeah, I liked the movie. I thought it was fun. Yeah, sad about Lindsay Lohan.
There was a TV movie sequel in 2011. I was gonna ask.
I haven't seen it.
It's supposed to be awful, right?
Did you see it?
I mean, like I was tempted to see it, and I was on stream like doing the watch along for the first one, and I was like, should we watch the second one? And everybody was just like, no. It
Who's
just
in
said
it?
it wouldn't even be funny. The only recurring
Lohan's not even in it, sure.
Tim Meadows is the only actor that reprised the role.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
So he was in it, but everybody else is just completely different people. And it's a straight to DVD, straight to TV thing. So like nobody important.
Oh, okay. One of them was the girl in Wizards of Waverly Place. Interesting. I'm just looking at like the cast of the second one. Yeah, it's like, like Disney stars and whatever.
Apparently not worth watching.
It's probably not very good.
People are saying.
Yeah. Doesn't quite have the same script that this one did. Yeah, Tina Fey writing. I think she's a good writer.
She's funny.
Like the screenplay.
Yeah. Where do you stand with her? Because I've never really seen what is considered her best stuff with like 30 Rock or Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt or whatever. This is kind of the only thing I've really seen from her.
I've seen some Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. That was fun. Yeah. I like her. I haven't had any reason not to like the projects that she's been involved in.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've seen her here and there. She's like in like some like Megamind and Soul.
Like Soul, yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna see if there's anything I hate that she's written. Let's see.
Anything she's written? Well, I don't think she's written much.
No, she's written them.
Except for 30 Rock, right?
That like 30 Rock. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, she's created 30 Rock. And
30 Rock, Kimmy Schmidt, and then Mean Girls. I don't. Has she written anything else aside from that? I don't think so.
Yeah, so I haven't. Yeah, nothing.
Yeah,
nothing offensive for me in that one. Oh my god! Upcoming Mean Girls and Mean Girls the musical. What is this shit? It's just on IMDb.
Oh, they're doing a remake.
Oh no, there might be.
Oh really?
An adaptation of Tina Fey, Jeff Richmond, and Neil Benjamin's Broadway musical based on the popular 2004 film comedy. So I think there already is a musical, but now they're like filming it or something. I think there might be a musical already.
Oh.
And then, yeah, okay, so that's what's happening. It's not like a remake of them. It's not like a. Okay, we'll see. Yeah, I'm not gonna research this right now, but that's a thing maybe. Yeah, Kimmy Schmidt was fun. I've seen a bit of it. But.
I guess we could just get into ratings for this, unless we have more to add about Mean Girls.
No, not really. It's,
yeah, it was fun.
Kind of is what it says on the tin. It's like it checks all the boxes for the demographic and the kind of comedy it's trying to be. It's not really trying to be anything else.
On the tin, you say? That's a very British thing to say.
On the tin.
Wait, what? Wait, say that again. Which
on the tin?
On the tin.
Someone would say like on the cover or on the box or something, but yeah, tin.
Oh, I
tin
see.
Would be a very British way to say that.
Yeah, never considered that.
On the tin.
Just letting you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I had fun with this one. I would give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. That's my rating. Bam. There you go.
Yeah, I'm a smidge under with just kind of a right down the middle, 3-star, kind of 6 out of 10. I enjoyed it for what it's worth. I do acknowledge I didn't see it in the early 2000s when I was more towards the age I feel like it would resonate. But I do understand what it is about the movie people kind of have gelled with and connected with. And I think someone on the subreddit was kind of comparing it a bit to Napoleon Dynamite, kind of that sort of era of these weird, like edgy, out there kind of comedies. That was kind of more up my alley at that time. Yeah, it was okay though. It was fun.
I guess just 2 things left in my notes that I forgot to mention before I give my rating. The gay guy, that was his whole character. That was kind of funny, just like, oh, he's too gay to function. That's all he is. Also very
Another
2004.
kind of trope, yeah.
And then last thing I wanted to mention, some of these supposed high schoolers look really old, and I hated the male lead, like the look of his character. He looked like a 30-year-old pretending to be a 14-year-old with that Justin Bieber haircut sort of thing, like that shorter, like fucking 30 Seconds to Mars haircut or whatever he was trying to do. Like not quite like, oh, fuck. I'm dressed like a little boy, even though I'm 30. It's really annoying.
Yeah, that almost adds to the humor in a way, like in those Sam Raimi movies when they're in high school and they all look like 40-year-olds. It's like, that's kind of funny to me, yeah.
I'm giving this one a 5 out of 10. It was not unwatchable. It was, I can see why it was memed. Wish some elements were better, but, it was not worth watching. We're some mean girls.
Awesome.
Great. Awesome.
All right. I guess it's question time. Boom.
Cool. Let's do some questions then from the Sardonicast community. Head over to the suggestion thread on the subreddit if you want to ask us whatever you feel like. Just like Butter467 did. Since you guys often criticize certain films that tend to get aspects of the internet wrong, what are some films you guys think get aspects of the internet right? I was like racking my brain trying to think.
Happy End, easily. The newest Michelle Haneke film. It's like so authentic, which is weird because he's a like 70, 80-year-old man or some shit. And he actually is just so detail oriented that he did research into like internet culture and like different websites and things that like teenagers were doing. And he, things that he's obviously not a part of. He didn't know naturally, but he just decided, oh, I'm actually going to research this as if he were making like a period piece and researching like as if he were Robert Eggers researching the dialect of a culture.
Yeah,
like
that's cool.
Oh, it's like what's that guy, Justin Goy or Michael Goy with the mechanism guy?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like him, right?
Something he should have done.
Yeah.
And so it's crazy. Yeah, like Michelle Haneke, my favorite director, managed to authentically write and direct this film that features the internet to a huge degree, and it felt authentic, which is just so above and beyond what a lot of movies, even made by like, I don't know, 30, 40-year-olds managed to fail at. So yeah, that would be one of my picks for sure.
Yeah, the only thing I could really think of was that movie Searching, which was kind of all
that was
like
a good one.
Screen recordings.
It felt pretty authentic.
That felt authentic because it's always like a bummer in movies when like a character uses some kind of technology and like they've come up with this fake UI and it's like clearly like not real software and it's all just like fake as fuck and like a unfriended type situation or whatever. Yeah, that felt like memorable for that reason.
Do you have any, Ralph?
What was the question?
What movies do internet right?
Yeah, because there's so many that do it wrong.
Is that the question?
Yeah.
Movies that do internet right.
Yeah. Faithful.
Does Wreck-It Ralph do the internet right?
No.
There's not many. I can't think of any. It's actually incredibly difficult.
I can name 2 more. There's some like indie movies that do like internet culture right to a good degree. I think I remember Cam was one that girl's a cam model.
It's not a movie, but Mr. Robot does the internet really
Mr.
well.
Robert.
And hacking.
Yeah, true. Actually,
that does it. That's the best I've ever seen. Because like the example I could think of before of hacking was the movie Hackers, where it was like really silly And then Mr. Robot.
That's kind
made
of
it
what they was.
believable.
Mr. Robot
like
does all
hackers watch, or like computer experts watch Mr. Robot. Like, yep, that's a real thing they use. Like, you can actually do that. You can actually use that code and hack into a car and whatever. People actually do that. So
That's cool.
yeah, it's cool.
There was a very low budget movie from 2020 called Private Chat. It's spelled PVT space chat. And
Is that the one you told me about with Julia Fox or whatever?
Yeah, and fucking Buddy Duress, the
Uncut
guy
Gems
from
lady.
From Good Time. Yeah, it was really good, and it was fairly faithful to like internet stuff. There's there's always going to be some issues here and there. Like there was a really good movie called Deadstream that's on Shudder right now, and it's like kind of like a found footage horror comedy, and the main character is like an unbearable Twitch streamer basically, and it's like supposed to be a part of the humor, and that I think got a lot right in terms of like the character and like internet kind of culture. But there were some elements where I'm like, I wish the chat was moving faster, at points, like if he's that big of a streamer, but yeah, mostly faithful for that. So yeah, all of those movies are good, by the way, if anyone wants to check them out. Cam, Private Chat, and Deadstream. And obviously Happy End is a great movie, I think.
I also kind of think about Bo Burnham, like Inside.
Yeah.
Even Eighth Grade to a certain degree, with how they were kind of depicting that kind of social circle thing. It seemed like way more kind of sincere and accurate to, that kind of world and how people that age actually use the technology as opposed to like, I don't know, LOL or something like that.
LOL with
LOL.
Miley Cyrus. Speaking of like child stars, right? Yeah, speaking of child stars. I usually really like how David Fincher uses technology in his movies. Usually the characters are like very tech savvy, or like
Social
like
Network.
how he uses Social Network, or like those laptops and Girl Dragon Tattoo, and Gone Girl, how he uses the news and that kind of stuff. The media cycle feels very like believable, and even like in House of Cards, like the way people text, there's like the little text bubbles that pop up. I don't think that's the first time it's been done, but
one of the worst like tropes in cinema is that like it's gone viral and they've become a star because of it type thing. Like
Nerve,
or the Smosh movie or any of
Your watcher or player. Oh no, dude! Social media is like totally bad because in this movie the teenagers are killing themselves over it. I mean, social media is
So
bad,
obnoxious.
but like it's just such a shit surface level interpretation of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there was a movie called Mainstream by Gia Coppola, and I haven't seen it yet, but apparently that's shit. Apparently it's really bad. It's got Andrew Garfield in it.
Wow,
that's an internet movie.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yeah, looks really bad.
Oh, cool.
And then there was one, I think it's like a one-word title, and it's got someone in it that reminds me of Andrew Garfield, but isn't. But it's like one that, it's not Scream. Like, I don't remember what it is, but it's...
Is it the one with Joe Keery?
Is that who his name is?
Spree?
I have no idea. What is it called?
Spree? Is it the one where he's in the car?
I've heard that.
I like that.
I've heard good things about that, even though I don't expect to love it.
Yeah, it didn't really take itself seriously. Like, a lot of these are like kind of too self-serious.
Fun, yeah.
That one was like, a lot of fun. That was just about like, kind of like a Twitch streamer who like was also an Uber driver, and he like live streams himself like killing people in his car. Like that was fun. Like it doesn't take itself seriously. Yeah, it's not like a great movie or anything, but it's, it's not like a masterpiece for sure. But
yeah, there are definitely way more examples of bad implementation.
Host,
hashtag horror, stuff
unfriended,
like that.
hashtag. I forgot about hashtag horror. Fuck. Why did anybody watch that, including myself?
That was fucking bad.
Jesus. Yeah, there's so many of those.
Did you guys watch that before? Like, because I made a video on it. I forgot. Yeah, it was like Halloween, like years ago.
Yeah, I remember hashtag horror.
I watched like the opening credits. It was like giving me a seizure. It's like it was like Gaspar Noé, but just not as good. Like if Gaspar Noé was bad.
Discount.
Yeah,
Chloe Sevigny was in it. Like, really weird film.
Oh yeah, a really bad movie. Yeah, like The Fifth Estate, how it uses the internet. I haven't seen that whole movie. I've just seen clips of it. It's like a bunch of people in a room on like computer monitors. It seems really stupid. It just seems like a really stupid way of presenting the internet. It's like a bunch of guys in like an office on computers.
Yeah, you would hope that like the internet is so ingrained into people's lives at this point that you just wouldn't see as many of these like real shit interpretations of the internet.
Right?
And yeah, fucking Dash Cam, that movie was shit. Oh my God. Like, holy fuck. Just if you're trying to be faithful in some way, there's things you can do. If you just put effort into it, just some forethought and planning.
It's just us. It's just not as many people use the internet as like we do. So it's just like not important.
But everybody uses the internet.
Like, yeah,
at this point. It's just like, do you stay on Facebook only
Maybe.
is the question.
Uh-huh.
Do you use websites other than Facebook?
Yeah. Are they just that like disconnected from like, how like other people are?
It's just like especially shocking when it is like a Ralph breaks the internet. It's like, really? Like, this is what you're doing with it, man.
Sorry guys.
It's a series of tubes.
I broke the internet.
Why'd you break it?
Yeah. That's the internet. It's a bunch of tubes.
And cat videos,
Yeah.
Vince is depressed, has one for us. Why do you think people hate Chris Pratt so much? I know the Mario choice is such horrendous casting, but people seem to hate him as a person. To add further to this argument, people now seem to want his career to fall apart. Do you agree with this sentiment or no? For me personally, yes, he's being cast in bad roles for him now at this point, but I find there's other people's careers I want to see crash and burn more, like Ryan Reynolds. Jeez.
Like Ryan Reynolds, did he do anything either? That's the thing. Did Chris Pratt or like Ryan Reynolds do anything?
They know what they did.
This kind of vitriol. I think this is a little harsh.
There was someone replied to it saying people dislike him because there's rumors that he's a Trump supporter and attends a homophobic church. None of these rumors are confirmed, by the way.
Yeah,
James Gunn debunked the homophobic church.
Yeah,
one.
Interesting.
Sounds kind of silly.
Yeah, and also at that point, it's like, okay, well, I don't expect every person involved in, anything else that I purchase to have the same moral political values as me. So, like, I really don't give a shit in that sense. I just hate Chris Pratt because he's voicing Mario and apparently Garfield. Like, I'm hating him as a concept more than an individual. I think when you reach a certain level of fame and you present yourself to the world as a product and not a person, then it sort of has that disconnect where I'm thinking of you more of a product than a person. And so, like, I hate Chris Pratt, the product. If I met the guy, I'm sure I would like the person.
That's a fine reason to hate him. I don't think he cares one way or the other. Yeah, that's fine.
I would hope that my presence on the internet, I'm not presenting myself as a product, and I'm still, at least presenting myself as a person to some degree. I would hope that I'm authentic enough to do that, but you never know with how you're perceived, I guess. Yeah,
I don't think he's a Trump supporter or whatever. I don't think that's confirmed. I'm just not going to believe
I think that would matter.
Yeah, I'm just not going to believe any shit I like hear on the internet or whatever. I hope that's how most people are.
Yeah, it's funny though how it kind of shifted, because when he was in Parks and Rec, he was kind of like a internet darling.
Oh yeah, he was beloved. He was
in like Her. He was in Zero Dark 30.
Guardians. Yeah.
Lego Movie, and then I guess once he was in Marvel, then he did like the Jurassic movies, which are like horrendous, and then he's like trying to be an action star.
Became a little oversaturated, maybe.
I feel like perhaps if we all say we hate Chris Pratt, then they'll stop casting him in voice acting roles where he doesn't belong.
But I don't really hate him.
If everybody collectively says, boo Chris Pratt, boo, and stops buying tickets to the movies he's in, then movies will get better.
I never met him. Like, I can't really hate him. Yeah. Like, he's just an actor. Like, how can you hate him? He's just an actor in a role.
Mushroom Kingdom, here we come. Fuck off. Yeah. It's so annoying. I can't, oh my God. It makes me hate him when I watch that trailer.
It is baffling why they choose him. But.
Oh, you still watch it?
The Mario movie? I don't.
Did you watch it again?
If I watch it, it'll probably be like a watch along.
The Mario trailer? Did you watch it again?
Well, no. There was a trailer 1 and a trailer 2.
Oh, you watched the new trailer?
Yeah. Oh, okay. It was somehow worse.
I didn't realize there was a new trailer. I haven't been watching it.
You can hear him.
Haven't been keeping up with these kids' movies that are coming out. Yeah.
People aren't as mad at me about trailer 2. Because it seems not as many people are weirdly defensive about it.
Wonderful. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I much respect like an Elijah Wood or something where like you've done your Lord of the Rings, now just go do weird shit, you know? Like
Yeah.
Like what are you chasing, you know, being in this like Tomorrow War or these Jurassic World? Like do you want to be like a Harrison Ford or something? Like what are you doing?
I think he just wants money. I think he's just getting as much money as he can before he's like, you know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's the big star
before he's not like the it guy anymore. And then he'll do small. But he can do small roles. Like he's a good actor. He's not like a fucking hack like Dwayne Johnson or whatever.
He doesn't have a lot of range, as evidenced by his Mario performance.
He's good in Guardians. He's good in Her.
Yeah, he's good in those things. He doesn't have a lot of range. He can be cast
He's
well.
good in Her. He's good in Guardians. He's been good in a lot of things. He'll be good in things after. He's making money.
You know, he was cast well in the Lego movie.
Yeah, exactly. He's making money in his...
Because he's supposed to be an everyman.
In his fame. He's making money in his fame now, and then he'll, once he's not like the number one guy anymore, he'll do like smaller roles, but he's just collecting as much money as he can. I can't really hate someone for that. He's the number one actor in Hollywood. It's like, yeah, you want to be cast as Mario and Garfield, all these things? Fucking take it up.
I wouldn't say no if they wanted to cast me as Mario, even if I can't act.
Yeah, an actor's not really supposed to say no. Yeah.
I guess I'll take the money.
Yeah, he's not even Italian. Like, I'd prefer if they cast an Italian guy, but, whatever. They don't give a shit. It's fucking Nintendo. They're in fucking Japan. They don't give a shit.
Let's go.
Yeah, Illumination.
Yeah.
God, fuck.
Let's make a money.
Yeah. That's what the tagline should be on the Mario movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's a really funny Chris Pratt quote. Let's see if I can find the quote here. 1 second. Oh, yeah. Here we go. People.com. Chris Pratt reveals he prefers to go by CP. No one calls me Chris.
Really?
Yeah, he's so detached. It's so funny. So here's the quote.
Wow, yeah.
Yep, Pratt, CP, CP. Hey, CP, but nobody calls me Chris, he says. I went golfing with my friend Chad, my pastor, and the other day he was like, no one calls you Chris? So yeah, Chris Pratt wants to be called CP.
Cool.
That's a real quote from him.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah.
See, that's a reason to love him. He's that innocent.
Yeah. Now you like him again.
He's just a big doofus. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a guy. I like Chris Pratt now. CP. No, I can't say that. Never mind. I was going to correct myself, and then I was like, no, I can't say that. Narrowly avoided a soundbite there.
Yeah.
Here we go. I'll keep hating him, and then I'll be like, I hate CP. There we go.
Got the maps. We got the Chris Pratt. Man, it's all coming out this episode.
And then if somebody disagrees, I'll be like, what? You don't hate CP? And then I'll send an army after them on Twitter.
Yeah, you found the win button.
I'm anti-CP.
Well, Bitchington 309 has one for us. One time I was in an argument over my love for SpongeBob SquarePants. The guy in question was trying to downplay my legitimacy by saying that I only like it just because of nostalgia and that my feelings and opinions on the show shouldn't be taken into much consideration. Do you think the guy has a point? Or do you think he was out of line? I do think it is okay if you don't like what you don't like, but it's always rubbed me the wrong way when people completely brush off a product just because of its popularity and that it must only be because of nostalgia. Have a great Shrek.
Yeah, just because something's popular or well-liked doesn't mean it's bad.
I would say it's okay to make those statements if you're referring to a certain amount of people within a trend of something. But if you're referring to an individual, then no, because you don't know what an individual is saying. So I can say something like, yeah, The Lion King 2019 would not have been successful if it wasn't a property that was a reboot of it, something that we all loved in our childhoods. I don't think that's an incorrect statement. I don't think I'm being mean or offending anybody. If you feel like that doesn't apply to you, then I'm not really talking about you. As an individual, like, I don't know every individual. There's probably tons of people that like The Lion King 2019 that never saw the original, but that's not what I'm talking about when I'm addressing like a trend or, like an overall statement about a culture of film. Yeah.
Just corporations weaponizing nostalgia. That's what bugs me. Like, I don't care about individuals. Like, if You know, if like that's why someone likes a movie just because of nostalgia, like it.
Yeah, and so what if you did?
But
there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, yeah, because that is why it is such a trend right now, is because of how bloody powerful it is. You know, it's like such a strong marketing tool, especially. Yeah, we're just talking about your Star Wars, is your all these Disney properties. Like it is such a core part of it. It is like why people have so much love for so much stuff. But yeah, when you get to the individuals, it's just, I don't know, it's unfair. Especially if you're talking about SpongeBob. What are you talking about? That's the show that got popular because it had the broad appeal to kids and adults. So that's just kind of an unfair stone to throw.
Yeah, it's sad. The guys kind of got blinders on because, like, yeah, that is a good show. Like, if you watched it, a lot of people are like that. Yeah, they just like, I don't know, they just like hate something before even watching it, and then they like never watch it, or like when they watch it, they don't enjoy it. It's sad because yeah, SpongeBob's great.
If somebody says to you that you only like something because of nostalgia for the show, you say, well, you only have that opinion because you have nostalgia for being a baby and you're using your baby brain because you feel good using that baby brain. You just wanted to feel nostalgic about it. Mm-hmm. I'm Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
And this is how you win debates.
Yeah.
JVAS685 has this to say. How do you guys feel about Gene Delman?
Love it.
Topping Sight and Sound's greatest films of all time list. Some people, including our boy Armand White, are trying to diss on it as a move for progressive wokeness. But peeps like me are excited to see Gene get love and have something refreshing at the top.
Mm-hmm. Paul Schrader wasn't like happy about it either. I don't think that's a great choice, like as the best movie.
Yeah, he said some weird things.
I don't think what he said was like too out there, but like it's just like, yeah, I agree. It's not. I wasn't really a huge fan of that movie either when we reviewed it. Still not.
That's fine. I'm just like,
I get like its message. Yeah, it's not like the greatest movie ever. I mean, it's a little much. I think that's partly why.
I'm struggling to think of a single poll where I agree of the top, where they say this is the best movie of all time, and I'm like, oh yeah, I totally agree. Like, I disagree with every poll, so it's weird that like this one in particular, people are like, oh, like suddenly hung up on it. It's like, okay, but it's a poll. It doesn't matter. It's gonna happen again in like 10 years, like this one. I don't know how often they do that. You know, like. It might as well be those fucking New York Times lists that we disagree with, where it's just like, you know, all that bullshit.
Yeah,
just like,
it's just a topic of conversation.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, this filmmakers just have a comment on it, like Paul Schrader or whatever. I'm like, that's fine. Yeah, I think that's a weird choice for like the top movie.
Yeah, it's a provocative choice for sure.
I mean,
yeah,
sure, filmmakers have comments on, you know, everything they're asked about, I guess, but when we're talking about like Armand White and I believe at the same time Paul Schrader.
Yeah, what did he say?
There's a bunch of people that felt like, oh, I have to talk about this sort of thing, as if like this particular Sight and Sound poll is so egregious that now it's like, oh, this is some huge travesty, when I'm just like, I just can't imagine.
I think more Armand White. I mean, Armand White's not very bright. I mean.
Paul Schrader's a weird guy. I like his movies, but he's also kind of a kook.
Oh, he makes great movies.
He's also kind of a nutbag.
A lot of the best artists are, you know.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of the best artists are kind of out
I want to hear what Vincent Gallo has to say about Jean Dielman being at the top of the Sight and Sound poll, you know? Like,
what did he do, Vincent Gallo? I don't remember.
Oh, you don't remember who he is? In the movie,
no.
He starred in and directed, what was it called? Buffalo 66. And now he stars in Daily Wire films, and he has a crazy website where he sells racist T-shirts.
Wait, he's in Daily Wire films? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's why I asked. I didn't remember this guy.
So, yeah, he's kind of a nutbag.
All right. Well, yeah, that's like confirmed. Yeah. Okay.
Give it time. You'll see with Paul Schrader. he's only a few more articles away.
Yeah, all I know is it's a weird pick. Gene Dielman's a weird pick for the best.
Well, it's like, who movie. Are they polling? They're polling a bunch of critics. It's a critically well-received movie. It's like a, you know, something that people remember after like 50 years.
I just feel like it wasn't really in the forefront of like greatest movies for a while. Like I didn't really hear about it for a long time until like kind of recently, like past couple of years. really for the podcast, that was like the first time I heard about it at all.
Well, here's the more important thing to consider is like, do we know exactly how the polls are conducted and how they're rated? Is it that enough people chose Jean Dielma as their number one spot, or is it kind of like Rotten Tomatoes where enough people gave it a 6 out of 10, and because it was not divisive as much or something, like then it got to the top and has the best rating? Like, how is it aggregated? We don't know that. Maybe. So it's like, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day what is at the top of the list. Like, it's just a list of movies and they're all there because some critics like them. Like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I can't imagine getting upset over this. Like, who actually really cares? If anything, it's just, good to get that film out there in the public conscious. So maybe even if people are watching it through outrage, like, people know its name a bit more, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. It gets it more in the spotlight, which is
when people search up the movie because they've never heard of it, they'll get my April Fool's video where I got Charlie Moist Critical to do a moist meter on it. That's a good introduction to the movie.
People will watch the movie. Yeah. People will watch the movie and go, wow, this is just boring. It's just a woman in her kitchen.
We had a podcast episode about it.
Yeah. It's not, I don't know. It is a weird pick, but
I am the most vocal fan on the internet of Jean Dielma. 23 quai du commerce.
Yeah, you are.
80 Bruxelles. Say the full title.
Yeah, exactly.
It's definitely one I think about a lot.
Good.
Like more, not really enough to sit down and watch again.
You'll feel ready again at some point.
Leaves a mark.
Yeah.
One day when enough time has passed. Yeah.
It is that kind of movie. It's unique and it's, I just think it's like really interesting artistically. And loved it a lot more on my second watch for sure. Yeah. It's funny that it like, I wouldn't expect it to become more of like a cultural conversation this year. Wasn't expecting it to get on more people's radars.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah. It's quite random and I do appreciate it for that. It's just, you just wonder with these lists sometimes, just like what the actual purpose is. Is it just to like make people mad and like just...
Yeah. that's why
really.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's why people respond. I mean, it's not like far-fetched.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're kind of provoking you, especially with a pick like that. Because it's not just like one of those like, oh, it's Godfather, Lord of the Rings,
like
whatever. It's like Gene Dillman. Yeah. One, it's not like one a lot of people know about, at least, maybe in our circle, sure, but I don't think a lot of people know about it. And two, it's just like kind of out of nowhere. And it's a weird movie. It's a weird movie. It's mostly a woman walking around in her kitchen. Or that's a lot of it. It's 3 hours long.
I wonder what chunk of the people who watched Jean Dielman were exposed to it by me. I wonder how much of that.
Like the percentage. Yeah.
Well, Chantal, you owe me one in the afterlife, okay? I'm repping your films.
You can watch Jean Dielman or you can watch Mean Girls.
Pick your poison. Pick a side.
They're like inverse of each other.
Those are my cliques.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cliques.
Clicks.
I think it's
cliques.
click. I think it's click. I think so.
I think both are acceptable.
I was never in a clique, so I'm not an expert, but I know.
Is this a buoy boy
there
thing?
There were cliques.
Yeah.
I was a loner.
Well, I'm not going to look it up. Tell us in the comments who's an idiot.
What?
I'm not going to search this shit. All right.
Okay. Can we do one more?
All right, one
question?
more.
And
Let's end on this one from Professor Trilobite. Question: do you feel that part of the reason why many animated shows are getting cancelled is because of the decades of Family Guy and South Park clones that have given adult animation a bad name and made the public and probably companies view it as a disposable media? So I guess this is kind of in the zeitgeist at the moment because of all these Netflix shows that are on the chopping block, even after, I think, being renewed. What was that one about conspiracy theories that was just
Inside Job
the other day? Yeah, Inside Job. That was, I guess the
was that 1899 that got canceled?
Yeah, that got canceled.
Yeah, not an animated, but
Bunch of
It
stuff.
seems more like a streaming thing, to be honest. If we're
I
talking
was
about
going
stuff.
to say that exactly.
Yeah, it's so like cutthroat. If you're not a Squid Game or something, like you're just done for.
I mean, like even popular, successful shows, they just cancel. And I'm wondering if the mentality behind it as like a business model is just thinking like, well, the more shows we have, like the volume of different shows we have, the more titles we have in our library, and we can boast that we have that many titles. Like people who still want to watch Inside Job still have to come back to Netflix if they want to rewatch the first season or two or whatever, you know? And then you like make a new title or like, I don't know.
Yeah, they kind of, you're right. The business model is casting a wide net.
That might be their thought process.
Yeah, it's a shame if you actually like quality content, because the wide net approach does mean like your the Army of the Deads and stuff like that. And God, what was that rock movie with Ryan Reynolds and
Red Notice?
Red Notice, like these kind of things that tend to be what rise to the top and
Fucking
get like
shit. I don't remember anything about that movie. Oh
yeah,
God.
me neither.
Holy
me
shit.
neither. Yeah, it's a bit upsetting in terms of that side of it, but it's kind of just always been the adult animation game. Like, animation is so expensive already, and then limiting it again with it only kind of being an adult, edgier market, it's got to be something crazy successful like a Rick and Morty to even be seen as worth continuing, you know? Like it's so rare for it to really catch on. Like I wonder if like even BoJack nowadays would have been like cut if it was being released now.
Right.
Probably, yeah. Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's got kind of a bad like first season too. So a lot of shows like require a couple seasons to even get going or kind of get the hook embedded.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. A lot of my favorite comedy shows like really get going later on, seasons 2, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Simpsons gets really good at about season 26.
Well, The Simpsons, the first season's not so good.
Yeah.
Like the first season of The Simpsons is not like amazing. It makes me wonder if it would
I
get...
felt that way at one point, but rewatching it again, it has some merit to it. It's a little less like
Still The Simpsons.
wacky.
So.
It's a bit more grounded, but I do like the first season a lot of
The
Simpsons.
animation's really weird. Like,
I mean, it's dated,
characters.
Yeah. It's
they definitely
better than their current animation.
Yeah, true.
They refined it like season 2 though, season 3. Those models were like better, I thought.
Yeah, season 2 through 4 of The Simpsons is like, mwah, chef's kiss.
I love, everything up to like, I don't know.
Up to like season 10, I would say.
Like 10 to 12. Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like 12, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, it's just like you said, it's just content in general. It's been getting canceled after one season now. Yeah, you have to either do really well or you just have no value to them. Yeah, even Breaking Bad, like that kind of took a while to take off. Like that wasn't an instant hit.
Yeah.
It took to like season 4 for people to get hooked on that.
Season 4.
Really?
Yeah.
I was watching from the pilot, but
Same, but most people.
There were people.
It got huge
like
after a while. You're right.
Season 4 got huge. Once it got on Netflix or whatever, I think it got a huge audience there.
Yeah, it's arguably like even bigger now, which is a crazy one with Breaking Bad.
It's
like it's
all
so
the
prevalent
memes
in meme culture.
still.
Yeah.
I'll rewatch it someday.
That's why they made that spinoff. They're like, we got to keep making money off the show. Like they weren't making money off the show until it was over, basically.
Isn't he coming back for like a Super Bowl commercial or some dumb shit for like chips or something?
Yeah, they need to make their fucking money on that show. I mean,
Bravo, Vince.
man. All right, well.
Woo. What was the question? Oh yeah, we answered it was about canceling shows.
Yeah, I think we answered it, to be honest.
Why don't we cancel Netflix? Bam.
Yeah.
We'll show them. All right. I guess that's it for questions. And we have a film recommendation from Alex.
Yeah. So I really fancied doing a trilogy, and these movies have been on my mind, especially because of Rings of Power recently. And I don't know if Ralph was I don't know how he knew. Like when we started recording this, you introduced yourself as Legolas.
Oh no, really?
Yeah.
You're doing that.
Good. I'm sorry guys, but I want to do the Hobbit trilogy.
Yeah.
Extended or non-extended?
I'm going to let you choose, because It's a lot of time.
I'm gonna do the extended because I've never seen the extended. Maybe I'll do both. I mean, like, you just caught me on like a Lord of the Rings binge.
Oh, really?
So yeah, this is perfect.
Yeah.
I just finished Return of the King. I'm like, now I gotta watch The Hobbit.
Oh,
Perfect.
cool. Okay.
Excellent.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it could be an interesting discussion. So
Yeah, great.
that must make like Peter Jackson one of the most recommended directors on this show.
6
Like, we've
movies,
Good old PJ.
Yeah.
right? Oh well, yeah. Plus the other 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 8 movies. Yeah,
So yeah,
For
that
sure.
should be a fun
We
discussion.
did King Kong also.
and King. Yeah,
Oh,
let's
and
just-
King Kong. Man, yeah,
so
we've done
9.
so many.
Yeah,
Yeah,
9 movies. We did nine PJs.
we've done all of them except the Bones one, except the Saoirse Ronan one.
I mean, there's some that we haven't
Man.
even.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, there's another one. Okay, great.
All right. Well, if you don't want to be spoiled for the Hobbit trilogy,
I love that pick.
watch it for the next episode comes out. These episodes come out every 2 weeks. You can listen to them early by going to sardonicast.com, signing up for premium. It's only $2 a month. And also patreon.com/sardonicast. It'll do the same thing, just a different platform. We also got merch, link in the description. We also have a Sardonicast highlights channel that you can subscribe to on YouTube. Check it out. There's some good highlights on there. All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye-bye, Shrek, Puss in Boots.
Yeah, take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.